Doug Dingwall from the Canberra Times.
Doug Dingwall from the Canberra Times. Minister, thanks for your address. The State of the Environment report notes the challenge of reducing emissions for Australia. The ACT government is planning to ban new fossil fuel-powered light vehicles in the ACT from 2035, the first Australian jurisdiction to announce a phase-out of internal combustion engines in this way. Do you support such an approach to boosting electric vehicle use and phasing out fossil fuel transport? And does the federal government need to set its own date for a ban to stop jurisdictions adopting inconsistent stances on fossil fuel-powered vehicles?
Well, I'm really proud of the policies that the Albanese government announced around electric vehicles before the election, which includes making it cheaper to buy an electric vehicle. So many Australians say they'd love to buy one, they can't afford one. And so reducing the cost of electric vehicles is really important. Doing things like the hydrogen highways that we're investing in with state and territory governments as well, making sure that we're expanding the usability of hydrogen-powered transport vehicles on common transport routes. It's another great way that we can reduce vehicle emissions. You know, ACT government's absolutely able to go beyond what the federal government's committed to, but as a federal government, we deliver on our election commitments.
Amanda Kopp from National Radio News.
Hello, Minister. Thank you so much for your speech. Amanda Kopp from National Radio News and the Community Radio Network. Labor was at the forefront of criticism over the destruction of the Juukan Gorge in WA. It now seems like history is potentially about to repeat itself in the case of the Burrup Peninsula or the Murujuga in WA, with a new urea plant which is planned for that area. Aboriginal elders today in particular, but previously have been pleading with you now to intervene. Will you make moves to protect that cultural heritage site?
Thank you for that question. The Juukan Gorge destruction is one of the most shameful chapters in Australian history, and I think it's extraordinary that the previous government never responded to the report on the destruction of Juukan Gorge, because it did point to areas where we need to improve protections. It is the reason that we're committed to doing standalone cultural heritage protection legislation, co-designed with First Nations Australians. I have to be very careful as the decision maker under the Environmental Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act not to give opinions about matters that might come before me. If I give an opinion, that can mean a particular decision I make is thrown out of court, and we get perhaps even the opposite decision to the one that people are asking about in the case that you're describing. So I'm not going to comment, not today or at all, about individual cases that may come before me for decision making. But the general comment I want to make about First Nations cultural heritage in Australia is we are so lucky to be so rich in First Nations cultural heritage. Of course, we need to have better systems for protecting it that don't lead to appalling, shameful outcomes like Juukan Gorge.